Our lead story tonight, well, NDTV has confirmed that the much-awaited Modi government cabinet expansion is happening tomorrow evening. What's the latest, Akhilesh? Because this has really been closely watched since it comes after 2 years of the second innings of Prime Minister Modi's government.
Yeah, this is the first cabinet expansion of Modi 2.0, and we've been told that a lot of new faces will be included in this cabinet expansion tomorrow, which is going to happen at 5:30 at President House, and it is much expected that many faces like Jyotiraditya Scindia, Narayan Rane, Sarvanand Sonowal, they will be included. And government sources are telling us that a major focus will be on the youth. The average age of the cabinet will come down drastically. This is what they are pointing out, and also saying that sub-identity of the sub-regions of the various states will be highlighted. For example, in Uttar Pradesh, Purvanchal, Bundelkhand, Awadh, and Bij areas will be given representation. For example, in Maharashtra, Marathwada and Konkan areas will be given representation in the cabinet. So these are the areas where BJP is trying to focus. And also,
of course, the BJP government, especially Prime Minister Modi's government, is known for springing surprises. Are we likely to see any changes in the big four or in the senior cabinet ministers? Because besides those being sworn in, there's also worry over who's being dropped.
Well, as far as four top ministries are concerned, there is no indication that there will be change. They will remain status. There will be status quo among the four top ministries. But yes, some senior ministers, they will lose some of the extra portfolios which they have been holding for the past 2 years or so. For example, Piyush Goyal, he is holding 3 portfolios. Ravi Shankar Prasad, 3 portfolios. Javadekar, 3 portfolios. So that responsibility will be given to some other new entrants.
Right, Akhilesh, thanks so much. That breaking news, that cabinet expansion, the major cabinet expansion tomorrow between 5:30 and 6 o'clock. But let's just go across also to what's the larger message this expansion will actually send out. Sanket Upadhyay has this analysis.
So finally, the big announcement has come. The cabinet reshuffle is expected to take place tomorrow at 6 p.m. This is the information that we have. Some more information that we are getting on how exactly this cabinet is going to be. Well, we are hearing, and top government sources have told NDTV, that this is going to be the youngest council of ministers. The youngest council of ministers, which will have the lowest age in the history of cabinets in this country. So that's the information that we are hearing. We're also hearing that the educational qualification will be primary. It will be it has been a key issue of consideration, where members who have PhD, who are MBAs, who are postgraduates have been given special attention. Focus is being given to each state and even region within states. For instance, in a big poll-bound state like Uttar Pradesh, you will have representation from, say, Awadh, Bundelkhand, or various areas, Purvanchal. All of these considerations are also being given. There is also focus on 24 OBCs to be represented. Now, this representation includes those who already exist as well as the new ones. Just a quick number crunch that I may want to do. Out of 81 of the total council of ministers that Modi can have, the present strength is only 53, which means Narendra Modi can add close to 28 more ministers in his cabinet if he so chooses. There is also a plan to involve the smaller communities, and representation of women is also likely to be increased as far as this cabinet is concerned, much more than what exists as of this moment. This is a crucial point. There is a special consideration for all those who have administrative experience. Now, this could include, say, for instance, bureaucrats who have already left their jobs and now have entered politics, or who have nothing to do with politics but have administrative experience. So there is a very, very high chance of such people also being represented. Now, let's very quickly tell you what exactly needs to happen. Now, we have confirmation. This is going to happen tomorrow, the 7th of July, and the other process of allocating of portfolios will also happen till the 9th. Thawarchand Gehlot has now shifted from being a union minister to a governor. BJP probables have been asked to report to New Delhi. JDU is still uncertain over representation. Sources say JDU wants 4 cabinet positions, whereas JDU's RCP Singh in New Delhi has come in here for talks and not necessarily to be sworn in. That's the information that we have. A quick list of all the probables. So there is Jyotiraditya Scindia as of this moment. Jyotir of course, has been credited for delivering Madhya Pradesh MLAs to the Bharatiya Janata Party, migrated last year from the Congress. Then you've got Sarvanand Sonowal, who was rewarded perhaps or will be rewarded for his political sacrifice. Sonowal vacated the Chief Minister's position for Himanta Biswa Sarma. He served as Sports Minister under Modi 1.0. Narayan Rane from Sena to Congress to BJP is a strong man from Maharashtra moving to the centre. Could this be a possibility of keeping no room for any turf war with Devendra Fadnavis in the state of Maharashtra? Anupriya Patel, alliance partner from Uttar Pradesh. Remember, UP goes to polls in the first half of 22. This is being seen as an attempt to win over allies. Then staying with UP, you've got Rita Joshi. Joshi is an MP from Uttar Pradesh, was a former UPCC chief, then became a minister in the Yogi government. This is a crucial elevation which could come ahead of the UP elections. Also an attempt to woo the Brahmin community. Remember, she represents the Brahmin community. Then you've got Varun Gandhi, another MP from Uttar Pradesh, 3-term MP from Pilibhit. Mother Menaka was dropped from Modi 2.0 cabinet. Then you've got Sakaldeep Rajbhar, Rajya Sabha MP from Uttar Pradesh. This is important. This is an attempt to woo the Rajbhar community in eastern UP because the former BJP ally Om Prakash Rajbhar left the NDA and criticized the UP government. This is being seen as an effort to negate the effect of the OP Rajbhar faction on the Rajbhar community. So they want to elevate their own just ahead of elections. Then Manipur, you've got Ranjan Singh Rajkumar, Lok Sabha MP from Manipur. Manipur is also going to polls in 2022, so there is a possibility of his elevation. And very quickly, last but not the least, Mr. Pashupati Paras, the breakaway uncle from the LJP faction, could be rewarded by the BJP for breaking the Lok Janshakti party. Of course, this family feud is still on. Could he be rewarded for leading a faction against Chirag Paswan?
Thanks so much, Sanket, for that. So many of these MPs were actually in different parts of India. So they're all flying in today. Interestingly, Jyotiraditya Scindia was actually at Puja in Ujjain's famous Mahakal temple. He flew in this evening, as did Narayan Rane, who said he's arriving for the parliament session. And then ex-Assam Chief Minister Sarbanan Sonowal also flying in from Assam today, as are other leaders from all across the country. And well, the uncle of Chirag Paswan actually went shopping for a new kurta. When he was asked whether he was buying it for his swearing in as minister, he said, "Let secrets stay secrets." Here's what the probables said today.
सर क्या लगता है कि आपको एक कैबिनेट का भी दर्जा देने का ऐसा
उसके बारे में अब मैं कुछ नहीं कर सकता हूँ। मैं पहुँचने के बाद मुझे जानकारी मिलने के बाद मैं पहुँचा।
अभी 3 दिवस के दौरे को समाप्त करके मैं अभी दिल्ली पहुँचा। कोई खबर होगी तो मैं आप लोगों को जरूर बताऊंगा। अभी दौरा समाप्त करके मैं आया हूँ। मैं श्रद्धांजलि देने के लिए और सांत्वना देने के लिए मालवा के 6 जिलों का दौरा समाप्त किया है। मैंने समाप्त करके मैं दिल्ली वापस आया। महाकाल मंदिर के दर्शन करना सौभाग्य है हर व्यक्ति के लिए।
नहीं, किसी फॉर्मूले के बारे में तो कोई जानकारी नहीं है, लेकिन इसके बारे में जो हम लोगों के पार्टी के राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष हैं, उन्हीं को इन सब चीजों के लिए अधिकार है। जो कुछ भी अधिकृत वही है, बातचीत करके जो कुछ भी होना है उसी के हिसाब से होगा।
The Janata Dal United still somewhat of an X factor in this cabinet expansion, but all details first here on NDTV. But meanwhile, in the Congress, the Punjab Chief Minister Amarinder Singh flew into Delhi today to meet with Congress President Sonia Gandhi amid that widely publicized rift with Navjot Singh Sidhu. After the meeting, here's what he said.
I do not know anything about Sidhu साहब। मैं तो हमारी सरकार का काम है और वो मैं आके प्रेसिडेंट से डिस्कस किया है और हमारे पॉलिटिकल इशू भी डिस्कस किए हैं। एंड जो भी फैसला होगा यहाँ से ऑन एनीथिंग, पार्टी का हो किसी चीज़ का भी हो, वो हम पूरा उस पर अमल करेंगे जो हमारे कांग्रेस प्रेसिडेंट चाहते हैं।
In other news, tributes pouring in from supporters of Father Stan Swamy, an accused in the Elgar Parishad Maoist link case who died on Monday in custody in a private hospital. Political condemnation has poured in as his funeral was held today. A small funeral with Jesuit priests attending, but many more attending online. Meanwhile, 10 opposition parties leaders have written to the president protesting against the inhuman treatment given to Father Stan Swamy and the fact that despite his worsening health and multiple appeals for bail had been turned down. The leaders, who included Sonia Gandhi, Mamata Banerjee, MK Stalin, Sharad Pawar, the Jharkhand Chief Minister as well, have asked that other political prisoners be released as well. But perhaps the greatest mourning is coming from Jharkhand, and from where Father Stan Swamy actually worked. Here are the details.
Pathalgadis are traditional tribal memorials, and this one at Bagaicha, 20 kilometers from Ranchi, has names of tribal martyrs starting 1784. By Thursday, it will have a new name etched upon it. The name of Father Stan Swamy, the founder of Bagaicha, the registered society that works among the tribals of Jharkhand. Today, from the garden that he tended, flowers for the memorial to the man who changed tribal lives, now gone, killed, say many.
उनको ये केस में फंसाए नहीं होते तो ये उनके साथ में अन्याय हुआ है। अंत में उन्होंने अंडर ट्रायल्स के लिए काम किए थे और जिनके लिए उन्होंने काम किया था उनमें से एक बन करके वो अपना जीवन दिया है।
We lost him, but we can vouch that he will remain alive in our midst.
There is anger here at Bagaicha at the way the Jesuit priest working in Jharkhand since 1967, in Ranchi since 1999, was arrested in October last year and repeatedly denied bail. But at his home, also deep sorrow.
और आज उनके चले जाने के बाद हम उसकी कमी महसूस कर रहे हैं। आज हमारे बीच में रहते तो हम लोग उनसे बहुत कुछ सीख सकते थे।
गरीबों आदिवासियों के बारे बहुत सोचते थे, बहुत उनके बारे काम भी किए हैं और हम उन्हें बहुत मिस करेंगे।
The 84-year-old has left an indelible stamp with his life's work. In death too, he has strengthened the resolve of his friends and followers to keep his work alive. With Harivansh Sharma in Ranchi, Monideepa Banerjee, NDTV.
In other news, Prime Minister Modi today tweeted birthday greetings to the Dalai Lama on his 86th birthday. Now, those greetings and that tweet carefully chosen, carefully timed actually with a signal to China, because China, of course, doesn't accept the Dalai Lama as spiritual head of the Tibetan Buddhists, and the Dalai Lama's government in exile in India. And this comes as the boundary dispute in Ladakh remains unresolved. Prime Minister Modi had last sent private birthday greetings to the Dalai Lama in 2019, but not publicly. So the fact that he tweeted it is a very strong message to China. And in fact, he had sent no birthday greetings in 2020 during the India-China standoff either, or in 2019 as well, when he was actually silent during the 60th anniversary of the arrival of the Dalai Lama. Remember, in 2018, India and China had agreed not to air differences in public, but clearly that has all changed now. Well, moving now to Maharashtra, where the big story was this statement from the Chief Minister saying, I am going nowhere, ruling out any possible BJP patch-up, saying they hadn't made us Chief Minister for 30 years. Why would that change now? He said the alliance with the NCP and the Congress was intact. This as BJP MLAs held a parallel assembly outside the steps of the assembly protesting the suspension of 12 MLAs.
नाही मी तुम्हाला एक सांगतो, सरकारचं कर्तव्य आहे जनतेचं समाधान करणं. विरोधी पक्ष त्याच्यात समाधानी असमाधानी होणं न होणं त्यांचा प्रश्न आहे. मी या दोघांच्या मध्ये निघायचं म्हटलं तर कुठल्या बाजूने निघू ते सांगा. अहो 30 वर्ष एकत्र राहून काही नाही झालं तर आता.
Well, some good news on COVID data. We are at just over 34,700 cases, at the lowest in almost 4 months. Also, deaths in the last 24 hours are down to 553. The tests are up. The daily positivity rate is also down. But here's what the big worry is. The government said today in their briefing, where the government actually showed pictures of tourists in hill stations and warning that these visuals were frightening.
एक अभिप्राय समाज में किसी वर्ग में यह है कि अगर रेस्ट्रिक्शंस खोल दी गई तो वायरस खत्म हो गया है। हम आप लोगों के द्वारा फिर से लोगों की दृष्टि में लाना चाहेंगे, वायरस या इन्फेक्शियस डिजीज यह अभी भी हमारे बीच में है। जरूरी है कि कोविड एप्रोप्रिएट बिहेवियर पर हमारा उसी स्थाई से उसी स्तर से हमारा कार्य चलता रहे, नहीं तो हमारी एक भी भूल फिर से वायरस को हमारे बीच में फैलाने के लिए उसको एक मौका देगी।
So an important message there. But meanwhile, as the centre has to get back to the Supreme Court with details of compensation for COVID deaths, the Delhi government today launched a scheme to give compensation and monthly assistance to the families of those in Delhi who had died because of COVID.
Ever since her husband, a delivery agent, died of COVID 2 months ago, Neetu has been sewing clothes to feed her 3 young children.
3 बच्चे छोड़ के गए, जिम्मेदारी तब मेरे पे ही छोड़ के गए ना। पैसे मिलेंगे तो उसको तो मैं अच्छी जगह लगाऊंगी, अपना सोचूंगी काम खोलूं, या ऐसा काम खोलूं जो अपने बैठ के अपने बच्चों को भी देख लूं, अपना काम भी कर लूं।
But today there is some relief for Neetu and others like her, with the Delhi government announcing compensation and monthly assistance for families of COVID victims. Under the Delhi government's COVID-19 Family Financial Assistance Scheme, each family in Delhi which lost a member to COVID will get a one-time compensation of 50,000 rupees. Apart from this, if the person who has died was an earning member, the family will get 2,500 rupees per month. Children who have lost both parents will be given 2,500 rupees a month till the age of 25. To claim all these documents will have to be uploaded after applying on a Delhi government portal.
आज इस पोर्टल का लॉन्च हो रहा है। एक तो तरीका है कि वो खुद भी अप्लाई कर सकते हैं पोर्टल में। जिन जिन लोगों के घर में मौत हुई है, सबके घरों में दिल्ली सरकार का एक रिप्रेजेंटेटिव जाएगा और वो रिप्रेजेंटेटिव जाके उन लोगों से ये फॉर्म भरवाएगा और उन लोगों से रजिस्ट्रेशन करवाएगा।
Those who do not have the documents will get help in collecting the documents. This Delhi government scheme has been announced soon after the Supreme Court ordered compensation to families bereaved by COVID. But so far, there has been no announcement from the centre. With Sharad Sharma, Joshua Chin for NDTV.
Well, a quick look at other news, and this is a huge headline for students around the country, and that's of course the board exams for class 10 and 12 of CBSE being held for the first time in 2 batches. How does that actually work? Here's the report.
17-year-old Arshia Madan of Delhi is among lakhs of students who will take not 1 but 2 board exams. A major change because of the second year of the pandemic.
पिछले कुछ सालों में यही होता था कि एग्ज़ाम होता था 3 घंटे का, और अगर किसी भी एक्सटर्नल या सिचुएशनल फैक्टर की वजह से आप उस एग्ज़ाम में अच्छा परफॉर्म नहीं कर पाते थे तो उसको ठीक करने का हमारे पास कोई ऑप्शन नहीं था। पर अब 50-50 की वजह से अगर हम एक में अच्छा नहीं भी कर पाते हैं तो हमें दूसरे में अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलती है।
More details are now out after the late night surprise announcement. Each term exam will be given equal weightage in the final results. No overlap in the syllabus of the 2 terms. The dates of the first term exams are from November to December 2021 and they will each be 1.5-hour exams. The second term exams will be held from March to April in 2022 and they will be of 2 hours each. While the first one will be objective type, the second will be subjective type. The syllabus will be rationalized and details of the rationalized syllabus will be released by the end of this month. Last year, the CBSE had reduced the syllabus by 30%.
मैं बहुत खुश हूँ जो ये लेटेस्ट गाइडलाइन CBSE की आई हैं इससे, बिकॉज मैंने देखा है एक्चुअली में बच्चों को टेकिंग अ लॉट ऑफ स्ट्रेस इस पीरियड में, एंड एज फार एज 12th इज़ कंसर्न तो इस क्लास की इम्पोर्टेंस भी बहुत है और बहुत प्रेशर बच्चे लेते भी हैं जिसकी वजह से उनकी मेंटल हेल्थ पे भी असर होता है।
But the students will also be marked on internal assessments throughout the year. This will include 3 periodic tests, exploratory activities and practical work.
This is going to be a great shift from the conventional method of assessment, and that kind of practice which we really used to have earlier, it will really change the whole scenario. It is not going to be the same one-size-fits-all kind of a system.
It is the best way for the assessment of performance of board classes. जैसा कि CBSE ने कहा है कि sufficient efforts will be made so that all the internal assessments जैसे कि practicals हैं, project work है, they all will be made more credible and reliable as per the new moderation policy that is going to be released very soon.
CBSE has decided that if schools remain closed even during the November to December period, students will take the Term 1 examinations online from home, but their weightage will be kept lesser in comparison to Term 2 examinations while declaring the final results. In New Delhi with camera person Sushil Rathi, this is Sukirti Dwivedi for NDTV.
And just a quick look at the monsoon. Well, it's now reaching Delhi, Punjab, Haryana only on the 10th of July. In Delhi, that means it's been the most delayed monsoon in 15 years. Rainfall is likely to increase over central India also from the 10th of July. There is, however, a monsoon deficit in Kerala, Punjab, Jammu and Kashmir, East Rajasthan, Gujarat, coastal Karnataka and West UP as well. So if you just look at the distribution, in the north it's been 4%, in the east 0%, east is 0%, north minus 4%, central India minus 1% and the south positive by 3%. But as we end this show, just a quick update that the cabinet expansion, the first expansion actually in the second innings of Prime Minister Modi's government will be held tomorrow evening at around 5:30, 6 o'clock. The hopefuls, the ones who've got a call actually, have already arrived in Delhi this evening. We'll get you more updates as we have them. But before that, on Reality Check tonight, shocking new evidence emerges of what was actually planted on computers of one of the Bhima Koregaon accused. Details coming out a day after Father Stan Swamy's death. Vasu.
You may have heard that very unfortunate, one of the defendants, Stan Swamy, Father Stan Swamy, he died yesterday while still waiting for bail. Now, he was copied on one of the mails sent by the attacker. Does that indicate that his computer too was targeted, perhaps even compromised?
That's an indication that he was targeted. If, as Surendra Gadling did, he opened that attachment and executed it, then his computer likely would have been compromised as well.